Your brain isn't broken. It's just working against you. Overthinking isn't a personality trait. It's a habit. And like every habit, it can be unlearned. But here's what nobody tells you. Trying harder to stop overthinking makes it worse. The solution isn't willpower. It's a completely different approach. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what that approach is. Here's what overthinking actually is. It's your brain running the same loop over and over, trying to solve a problem it never gets to solve. Researchers at the University of Michigan found that 73% of adults between 25 and 35 chronically overthink. 73%. That means the majority of people you know are stuck in their own heads. Maybe you are too. And the cruel irony, overthinking feels productive. It feels like you're preparing, like you're being responsible, but you're not solving anything. You're just replaying the same thoughts until they exhaust you. Here's the thing most people miss. Overthinking and self-improvement share the same root problem. Both can trap you in your head, thinking about growth instead of actually growing. The gap between knowing and doing, that's where most people get stuck. Why you can't think your way out, you've probably tried to stop overthinking by thinking about it. That's the trap. Your brain doesn't respond to force. It responds to direction. Dr. Susan Nolen-Hoeksema, a psychologist at Yale, spent 20 years studying overthinking. Her conclusion: the more you tell yourself to stop, the louder the thoughts get. It's like telling someone, don't think about a pink elephant. What's the first thing that appears? The brain doesn't process negatives. It only hears the noun. So fighting overthinking directly doesn't work. But what does work? We'll get there. First, there's something else you need to understand. The two types of overthinkers. Not all overthinking is the same. There are two types. The first type is rumination. That's when you replay the past, a conversation that went wrong, a decision you regret, a moment you can't undo. The second type is worry. That's when you catastrophize the future. What if I fail? What if they judge me? What if nothing works out? Both feel like thinking. Neither is actually thinking. They're just emotional loops dressed up as logic. And here's where self-improvement gets complicated. A lot of self-improvement content accidentally feeds these loops. You consume more, you plan more, you research more, but you do less. There's a name for this. It's called productive procrastination, and it's one of the most common traps for people who actually care about growing. But what nobody expected, the cure for overthinking is also the foundation of real self-improvement. They're not separate problems. They have one shared solution. The 5-minute rule that changes everything. Behavioral psychologist B.J. Fogg at Stanford calls it the tiny habits method. The idea is simple. Shrink the action until it's almost impossible to refuse. You don't journal for 30 minutes. You write one sentence. You don't start a full workout. You put on your shoes. You don't meditate for an hour. You take 5 breaths. Why does this work? Because it breaks the decision loop. Overthinking lives in the gap before you start. Once you start, even in the smallest way, the loop breaks. Action creates clarity. Thinking rarely does. Here's the truth that took researchers decades to prove, and that most people never figure out on their own. Your brain is not a thinking machine that sometimes feels. It's a feeling machine that sometimes thinks. What that means is this: emotions drive behavior. Logic justifies it after the fact. Overthinking is your brain trying to use the wrong tool for the job. Every time you sit down to overthink a decision, your brain is running thousands of emotional simulations, not logical ones. You're not weighing pros and cons. You're feeling your way through imaginary futures and calling it analysis. And the moment you understand that, something shifts. You stop trying to think better. You start trying to feel better first, then act. The most effective overthinkers, the ones who actually beat it, don't suppress their thoughts. They redirect their body first. Move, breathe, act on something small. Within minutes, the emotional state changes. And when the emotional state changes, the thought loop breaks on its own. You didn't force it. You didn't fight it. You just gave your brain a different direction. That's the thing nobody tells you about self-improvement either. It doesn't start with a plan. It starts with a move. So here's what this actually looks like in your life. When you catch yourself in a loop, don't fight it. Notice it, name it. I'm ruminating, or I'm catastrophizing. That single act of labeling reduces the emotional intensity by up to 50%, according to research from UCLA. Then do something with your body. Anything. Walk, stretch. Drink water. It doesn't matter. You're breaking the state. Then take the smallest possible step toward the thing you've been overthinking. Not the whole thing, just one move. One email sent. One paragraph written. One call made. That's it. That's the full system. Remember what we said at the start. Your brain isn't broken. It's just working against you. And now you know how to work with it instead. Overthinking doesn't disappear, but it loses its grip. And that's where real self-improvement begins, not in your head, but in that first small move. If this connected with, there's one more video I think you'll want to watch. It's about the 5 habits that separate people who actually change from people who just think about changing. It picks up exactly where this one ends. And if you want more content like this every week, subscribe. That's what this channel is for. Take care of yourself and take that first move.